Welcome back. The lunacy regarding the EU and Brussels regarding this conflict in Ukraine is really getting really insane. Especially the event of Victory Day in Moscow and Russia, which many European leaders were invited to attend. Roberta Fico, which happens to be the Prime Minister of Slovakia, has been denied from Poland and Lithuania to use their airspace to attend the what you call celebrations, 80 years of Victory Day. And we've got Donald Trump saying we're going to have more sanctions on Russia and those who buy their minerals and so on. 500% tax or whatever. I think it's more like sanctions. They just this is just all a ramping up, pushing towards a physical conflict with Russia at West. We have Poland, which is going to spend 5% of their GMP on Polish defence, basically. The most highest in their history, and the most highest in Europe in this moment. They are preparing for war. And Poland has already extended the so-called conscription to all females to have a basic military training. Why you want to introduce the draft, making it a very subtle way of saying we have to reintroduce military spending, defence spending, and even the draft as well, and civil defence. That means you are preparing for a future war with a future nation, i.e. Russia. And Europe's pushing towards that point. Viktor Orbán from Hungary, the Prime Minister from Hungary, he said Europe has spent around about 140 billion euros on this conflict. And so far, did Ukrainians have an advantage over Russians? No, they're losing. They're losing ground and they're losing lives. There's more than 1 million Ukrainians dead due to this 3-year conflict with Russia. This so-called invasion from the Russians is not exactly true. The Russians had to come to the rescue to those people in those 4 republics, ethnic Russian-speaking republics, because civilians were slaughtered by those of Kiev. Don't forget Stefan Bandera, neo-Nazi, Azov stuff. Read the history of this country, because during the Second World War they were on the sides of the Nazis, and this Stefan Bandera, what is he called, is considered a national hero in Ukraine. It's just another Nazi war criminal like so-called Hitler or Mussolini or any other type of dictator fascist at that time. He and his Ukraine fascist regime had slaughtered and killed in cold blood around about 100,000 Ukrainians, between women, children, elderly people, with no mercy at all. And the tribute that the pay in lives during the Second World War. We're talking about more than 21 million of Russians died in the Second World War to free Europe from Nazis. And it seems like now it's Brussels which are supporting these Nazi regime in some way. They always have did, even in the past, whether you believe or not. And the more this escalates, the more Europe will be dragged in, because there will come someday European countries who follow this narrative, and they will say, you will be called to fight a war against the Russians. This is not our war. We didn't want it. These are the wars of the superpowers, the big corporations that make money out of. There's always been like this, wars, finance from the banks and the big corporations or what else.